Hey everybody, welcome back to the farm. Been a little while since I put up a video here. Been busy with field work and different things, and hadn't had a chance or had anything real exciting, I guess, to look at. But we're getting excited with all the green up we're getting, and I wanted to kind of drive around here and with the Ranger and look and talk about some of the areas where we are seeing the green up at, in areas where we fed hay through the winter. You can see off in the distance here, if I kind of zoom in out there, you can see the residue that's left out there across that hill from unrolling hay and grazing out there on that. Going up there towards, you can see the fence clear off there in the distance with the cows, the neighbor cows behind it, where it zoomed in there. And the grass is coming back through all of this really well. It's not places where it looked heavier, it's not hindering it at all, and it should be improving it. We're building the litter layer, and hopefully, and there's an area in there that's pretty thin that hopefully it'll help. It looks like there's a lot of new grass coming, as long as we can get some good recovery on time on that for it to come before we get out here to graze in this area. But we're gonna get a few more bales of hay, hopefully another load or two here, and kind of stretch our hay feeding out a little longer, just to make sure we give this stuff enough time to recover and to get going good this spring. Now there's an area there that obviously there's some hay there they didn't care for as much, and it's a little heavier, but these are all bales that were unrolled, and some areas that unrolled a little bit heavier, or they didn't need it quite as well. But when you get around and walk out there on it, it might be kind of hard to see in that picture, but you can tell the grass is coming through it well. There is another area we'll go look at where we just bale grazed whole bales when it was real cold there, and I had a little video on that, and I said I'd check back on that when it started greening up, and I haven't been in there for about a week, so we'll drive back up there here in a second. But you can see right here on the other side of the wire from where we are, back up here towards where the cows are at, you can see that left hand side grass is real short. That's kind of our sacrifice area right now, over to about that other, I don't know if you can see that other wire in the distance or not, and then the stuff to the north side of it there, out there where those cedars are, they're fenced out of that. There's kind of a back fence over there. We fed hay over there recently, and then fenced them out of it. So now they've got this lane, because they've got to be able to come down through here to water, and they've got to be able to get access to the water and then get back up the other way to where we're still unrolling some bales. Those old girls really want to go out on the green grass, but they're going to be stuck eating hay for a little bit longer. They get a little bit of green grass with their hay where we're unrolling at, whatever's growing in that area where there's some old stockpile and stuff, but they're going to have to eat hay a little while longer in that area over there, and let this grass get more of a head start on it. We've got some areas that are more recovered or got more new growth on it than this here, but they're not enough to get them up there to graze it. And I've got some area where I seeded some rye and some other cool season cover crop last fall. Some area where I'd moved some dirt and stuff that it's got some pretty good growth on it, but there's not enough feed in that area to make it worth taking them up there to graze it right now. We'll have to wait. We'll either take the steer group up there and graze it, or maybe we'll just wait a little longer until the grass is doing well enough to take the cows up that way. But I'm gonna head across here over to this. You can see there's another area that there was a little more residue from unrolling, but again, the grass is coming through it well, and the grass actually seems to be better than the surrounding areas in a lot of that, so it's definitely doesn't seem to be hurting anything. But we'll drive into this other area over here real quick, and I'll show you where we did that just bale grazing. I mean, all this was grazing bales, I guess, but in there we just sat round bales on end and grazed them when it was cold. Like I said, there was a video on that. If I remember, I'll try to put a link to that or something in the description here. But the this area here, You can see up in here is where there were some bales that they left a lot more, but there's a lot of grass pushing through that, and it seems to be looking pretty good. So we will keep an eye on these areas, I guess, and see how they continue to do. The grass in here was terrible last year. I think there's already more grass in here than what there was last year in this area, so we will see how this improves it. So up in here, these were the last bales in this area that I'd given them, and they were a little different bales than what I started them on. And the first bales I gave them, this cedar tree, the wind was blowing pretty good and blew this cedar tree over in this area, but there was a whole bale sitting here, and you can see that's all that's left of it. You can still see some manure and stuff scattered around, and and some hay, but the wind kind of tumbled that tree back over in here, and that's the area. You can see all those cedars are browning up pretty good now, but I had stacked all those in there to make and the wind kind of destroyed it a little bit here lately, but I stacked all those in there last winter when we were supposed to have that real cold polar vortex, or we did have real cold weather, to make a windbreak for them. And this area down in here was pretty covered in manure. Oops, little thorn tree here. It was pretty covered in manure, but you can see the grass coming back through there. You can see the manure more down through there, but it's coming back very well in there. Here's another area where there was another, there was a whole bale fed right there in that area on end, and you can see the dark green in the grass and stuff in there. You can see all the grass coming through that. I really don't think we're gonna see any hindrance to the grass coming. I mean, I think it's slowed down a little bit, and this area in here is all on a north slope, but a couple other ones here, we'll drive by them quick. Another one there that had a little more residue left behind, but again, the grass looks to be zoomed in a little too much here. Looks to be coming really good in that area. We'll loop back up this way and check out one more spot down here on the bottom of this. There's another spot there, and down here behind this little windbreak area that we had going on, there's a couple on the back side of here, I think. At least one back here. No, there's two. I thought there were two. Okay. So there was one here. This one here you can't hardly see anything from. So that one worked pretty well. I mean, there's a lot of manure and stuff in there. And so we didn't get as good of manure distribution as we would have if we'd have unrolled those bales. But also for the 3 or 4 days that we were in here, we never had to start a tractor because we had these bales set in here and just gave them, pulled the wire back a couple of those days and gave them more space. So, and this was another spot here, but you can definitely see the darker green, in those areas where those additional nutrients are at, around that. So hopefully, I guess they call those a biological hot spot. Hopefully that'll develop a biological hot spot that when we graze that area the next time around, they will spread that biology out to a wider area. There's that area by that tree that blew out there again. So anyway, just thought we'd look at all these areas real quick, kind of see how the green up's going, how the grass is coming through, that hay residue that's left behind, and get an idea how the grass is coming. But the tallest grass out here right now is probably 6-7 inches tall, but there's a lot more of it that's just pretty short. So anyway, kind of give everybody a little bit of an update on how this stuff's coming through, where we fed hay, and kind of what the green up's looking like, and try to get going to some more videos here again as we get closer to grazing and get cows moving around and work on projects that are more exciting than cleaning stuff out of fence rows and fixing fence for spring and all that jazz. So I hope everybody has a great day. Stop back and check us out when you get a chance.